Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. In this video, we'll learn how to access text files. We'll be creating a new file or we'll be opening an existing file and writing on it. Once we learn how to read and write to text files, we'll create a very simple text editor that gets our input from the command line and saves it to a text file. Okay, now let's start with creating a new text file. So let's say that we have this object named text file is equal to, we are going to use the open command and we are going to write first the file name, text file.txt for example, and we'll give the second parameter as write, and then we will specify the encoding. Encoding is equal to, we will use UTF-8 since UTF-8 is the most commonly used coding. I'm going to save this line of code. And let's see what happens when we run it. We are going to write Python. Our file name is filecreate.py. Let's run it. It seems that nothing has happened, but actually we've created a file. So let's see the directory again. You can see that we've already created a file named text_file.txt. So let's see the content of it by just entering its name. So the text file is here and it contains nothing. So we can close this one. Let's go back to our code. Now let's try to write a couple of sentences to our text file. For example, let's say that sentence 1 is equal to, this is the first line. And let's say, let's copy and paste a couple of sentences, saying that this is the second line and this is the third line. Okay, now we would like to write these sentences to our text file. So we are going to write test_file, which is our object. We are going to use the write method and we are going to first say, for example, sentence 1. And let's use this command again, and let's say sentence 2, sentence 3. Maybe this is not the perfect of entering these sentences, but let's continue with this. So let's go back to the command prompt and let's run our code. Okay, it again has done some stuff. And you can see that the text file has a size bigger than 0. Okay, so let's see the content of it by just writing down its name and pressing enter. Okay, you can see that we have some input, but it has some problems. So this was our first sentence, this is our second sentence, and this is the third sentence. The problem with it is the second sentence is starting right after the first one. So let's try to correct this. We are going to add \n to the end of each sentence, which creates a new line. Let's save it. Let's run our code once again. And let's check our text file once again to see what happened. You can see that it's in a much better situation now. It says that this is the first line, this is the second line, and this is the third line. Okay, now that we have created our text file, let's see how to read it from the Python script. Let's say test2.file is equal to open. The name of our file was textfile.txt. We're going to open it in read mode, and we'll have again the encoding is equal to UTF-8. Right after this, we can read the file with this single command. Test2.file .read. Okay, this is going to read the file. However, we will not be able to see it on our command prompt. So let's write a print statement at the beginning of it. Okay, now we are going to run Python fileread.py. The problem we have here is we don't need this apostrophe right here. So let's run our file. Okay, you can see that it printed out our file. We can again see our text file in the notepad as well. So we were able to read our file. Now let's go back to our file create.py code and let's make some enhancements in it. First, we were having these sentences written in our code, but this is not convenient. So we can have the user write down some lines and we can save this in a text file to make a very simple text editor. So let's try to do this. For example, let's say that first, let's print welcome to the text editor. And let's have the user input the file name as well. So let's say file name is equal to input. Please enter the file name. Once we get this name from the user, we assign it to the variable file name. So we are going to use it as the name of the file here. So we're going to write file name. We are going to have the encoding and etc. This will all be the same. Now we have created a file according to the user input. So let's get from the user several inputs for writing them to the file. Let's create an infinite loop, for example, with while true, and tell the user to input some lines, okay? And let's say, for example, enter text and press enter. If you want to quit, write, for example, and press enter. And now let's make a check here to see that if the user entered the regular sentence or if he or she wants to quit entering the file. But first, let's assign this input to a variable named, for example, text. And let's say if text is not equal to and test file dot write text. However, if you recall from our previous example, it's much better to include a \n so that we create a new line after the text. And in case of else, this means that text is equal to end. We are going to quit from the program. Let's see if it works. Let's write Python file crete.py and enter. Okay, it says welcome to the text editor. Please enter the file name. So let's say text1, okay, .txt. Let's not forget the extension as well. And it tells us enter text and press enter. If you want to quit, write and then press enter. So let's say this is the first line. This is the second. Let's write something different. For example, hello world is the third. Fourth sentence is the longest one, let's say. And let's try to quit with writing and then we quit it. So now what we are expecting is we are going to have a file named text1.txt which is created, and it's going to include all of the sentences that we have written here. So let's clear the screen. Let's write down and we see the text1.txt file here. Let's open it in Notepad. Okay, you can see that this is the first line, this is the second, hello world is third, fourth sentence is the longest one. So we have written to our file. Let's continue to enhance our code for the file crete.py. Actually, there is a problem with this code. I'll show you what it is. So we had created text1.txt by using the file crete.py Python file. And if we again run the file crete.py file, and if we again use the same file name as text1.txt and write some stuff, this is the second attempt of writing. I've written this and I would like to quit it. So let's see the situation of our file. You see that the text1.txt is smaller than before. Let's open it. Okay, this means that we have deleted all the previous lines. Okay, so that's the problem that we are having with this write mode. Okay, first it's going to truncate the file, meaning that it's going to delete its content and then write on it. So we don't want this to happen. So what we can do is we can change this W to A, which means append, so that it's going to add the new lines as we write. Okay, so again, let's see the last status of our file. It says this is second attempt of writing. So let's again run the Python code file crete.py and again use our text file. Let's say, let's check if it appends. And let's write add and quit. Let's again see our file. You can see that it's a bit bigger than the previous one. So let's see it. Okay, we can see that it did not delete the first line, but it appended to the second line. Okay, so this means that we have kept our previous information in the file. Let's modify our file underscore read.py code so that it gets the input from the user to know which file to read. Okay, so let's say here read file is equal to input. Please enter file name to read. And we open read file, read-only encoding, and we are going to print the content of it. Let's run the file, file read.py, and for example, let's give our text1.txt, and it gives the output. Let's run it for another file. For this one, it reads that again. We can also try to read our Python codes itself. Let's try to do it. And let's give this file name. Okay, it gives us our code. There is another way of reading files, so I would like to show that to you as well. Let's comment this out by entering a hash in the beginning, and let's create a for loop. Let's say that for line in test2 file, print line with an indicator like this. Okay, let's save it. Let's run it once again. We have a problem right here. We didn't mention in. So let's save it once again. Let's run it once again. Okay. So now I would like to give you one last information about reading files. I'll speak of another property. I'm going to say that test2 file dot tell. I'm going to print this. This is going to print at which location we are in the file. Okay. Let's do the same right after reading the file and compare it. Okay. Let's run file read.py. Let's use this file again. Okay. In the beginning, we have 0, and in the end, we have 67. Actually, you can directly relate this with the character count in the file. We can do this easily by using Notepad. Let's say, let's text1.txt. You can see that we are in column 38, so 38 characters till now, and we have 27 characters till now. If we add them, we are going to have 65, right? And we had 67 here. The reason for this is we have 2 new lines at the end of each line, \n, \n, that we don't see. So this was the end of this tutorial. In this tutorial, we have seen how to open and write text files. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you liked the video, please click on the like button and consider subscribing to the channel for further videos. See you next time. Bye.